is, and good luck to both Elliot Slessor and Martin O'Donnell. So let's join our commentary team, and it's good afternoon to Neil Foles and David Hendon.
What a day, what an opportunity for Elliot Slessor and Martin O'Donnell. One of them is going to reach their maiden ranking final. It's an unlikely matchup, but an intriguing one. They both play good stuff as well. Martin O'Donnell has beaten, in his 5 matches, 4 winners of ranking events. Elliot Slessor, of course, he did have 1 walkover. He's beaten 3 players who've won ranking events, so they've beaten some experienced winners along the way. Who's going to prevail here? It's best of 11 to play either John Higgins or Gary Wilson in Sunday's final. Elliot Slessor, the world number 50. Martin O'Donnell, the world number 76. Packed house. It's just a great occasion. Both trying to build on what they've already done. Martin O'Donnell, that terrific black he potted to prevent the decider against Brissell. How do you see this one, Neil? It's very difficult to call, isn't it?
I think it is, because they're very similar players, I think. Left-handed players without the usual gift of many left-handed snooker players. They have not necessarily that stylish, really good match players. I don't think if you saw a draw and you were paired up against either of these, you'd relish it very much, because you'd certainly know you had a game, win or lose. But it probably is the biggest match they've ever played, isn't it? Given that I know that Slessor has been to a semi-final before, but the feeling is he would come into it with a very good chance of reaching his first ranking final. O'Donnell's been in the semi-final of the shootout, yes. This is an upgrade on that, so it's a massive day for both players.
Yeah, and this tournament, of course, in recent years has produced a few surprise winners. Jordan Brown 3 years ago was 81 in the world when he won it. Oh, he's just put off by some sort of fly or something there. I thought his attitude was very good yesterday. It's something he's worked very hard on. He kept a lid on it when things didn't go so well against Dominic Dale. It might take a bit of settling down, though. It's a big match. Obviously, the arena's been reconfigured. It really is one table now. Audience on 3 sides. O'Donnell's only previous semi-final was the shootout, which is a very different form of snooker. Slessor, your Northern Ireland Open and the British Open, his 2 previous semi-finals. Martin O'Donnell was actually quite a late starter to snooker. He played pool initially, but for 3 years he also played for Wycombe Wanderers. So he's very much into his football. They let him go. It didn't work out as he'd hoped. And he didn't play his first junior event till he was 15, which is quite old. Of course, wasn't on the tour last season. He dropped off, but he actually said, because the amateur scene in the UK is much more vibrant than people realise. He said, I was actually playing most weekends. He was playing more than a lot of tour players. Of course, not for the big money. But he played a lot of snooker, got back on through the Q Tour. And so this is the first year of a 2-year card. And he got a bit of perspective being off the tour and trying to use that, obviously, to stay on in the future. But all the points he's getting just from this event alone means that he's already in good shape for that. In fact, they're playing a Q Tour event right now at the Northern Snooker Centre in Leeds. Michael Holt, our colleague, of course, got back on the tour that way himself.
So a few reds popping down the other end of the table, which makes safety to bulk, of course, very difficult. And there it is, because the other table was in, as Dave was saying, until last night, where Gary Wilson had that 5-0 victory over Anthony McGill, and plays John Higgins tonight. They're both hard match players, I said that, and you know, you're going to be, I think, seeing bouts of safety here. It will be decided in the scoring department, though, however. Safety can only do half the job for you. Well, red to right middle, if the cue ball was away from the cushion, might have been an option, but on the cushion, I don't think it's not really very easy, certainly not to get a position, never mind the pot.
O'Donnell was sat right behind this, and he just got out of his chair just before the red reached the pocket, because he could see he wasn't going in. Actually, the first frame of his match with Brissell last night was like this. The reds going sort of towards the bulkhead. He got in himself with a good red, made a nice break to start the evening. In terms of Slessor's background, he actually started playing at the age of 8. It was the sort of familiar story, really. His granddad bought him a small table for Christmas. And he had a very strong junior scene to play in the northeast of England. They've got a good structure there. Obviously, Gary Wilson, he's in the other half of the draw. Another player did drop off, but got back on.
You tend to hear that either players got a 6x3 for Christmas, as you pointed out. Same, but that was my story to getting into snooker. Or, of course, they go on holiday and discover a pool table. That's the other one you hear an awful lot.
Well, this is a bit like the red he potted against Brissell in frame 1 last night.
So a chance has come up here for Elliot Slessor. First red is not simple. Look at that cue ball where it finishes quite close to the cushion rail, so you know he's going to have to hit this with a bit of pace to get up for his colour. Decent opportunity after 7 minutes 40 seconds. First ball has been potted.
Well, it's a chance for Slessor to just get his hand on the table here, get some table time, pot a few, and get involved in this big match for him. He's played so much snooker, of course, because of where he's ranked in sort of qualifiers and quite anonymous surroundings. This is what all the practice has been for, though, an opportunity to play a match like this and obviously get through to the final tomorrow with a trophy on the line. And all the benefits that will come from it, Players' Championship next week, Champion of Champions later in the year, all of that would follow. Not least as well the financial boost, 80,000, remember, to the winner. It was his daughter's 4th birthday yesterday. Hayley had to miss that, obviously. He was here, but managed to watch the presents being opened on FaceTime.
So often the case that when one of these sort of chances come up, there are quite a few reds in open play. Not maybe as many as often is the case, but Chance to do quite a lot of damage early in the frame. Oh, that's not a good shot. Goodness, fancy fishing there. It's the worst place with all that room not to end up
16.
right over a ball on a red. Goodness. That is a very poor shot, I've got to be honest. How's he finished there? I think he got greedy. He tried to play on the red to the right middle, thinking, well, I've got the other one as backup, but he's overcooked it a little bit.
Elliot, Slessor, 16.
He'd be disappointed, obviously, to make just 16 from what was a good chance with red far and wide. They have played 3 times before, 2-1 to Slessor, but nothing as big as this, although one of those victories was in the final round of qualifying the World Championship in 2020, in that weird bubble in Sheffield during COVID times. Of course, Elliot won that, qualified, but walked out the Crucible. Of course, there was no audience.
Really good shot, though,
What?
after that first disappointment of that early break.
Three. Four.
Well, he's very pinpoint with that positional shot. He's over the top of a ball, but I think he would sacrifice that to be where he is. Now with the pink available to left corner, this is now a half decent chance to
10.
put plenty on the board here. It might be significant, that World Championship match. I know it was an oddity, the whole business of that bubble hotel we're all in, which led to the sort of venue as well. Everything was secure. But he did win that match very handsomely, and he played well in those qualifiers, as I recall, to get to the Crucible. Eventually losing to Yan Bingtao on debut there.
17.
The nature of his victory just could be some kind of a factor in today. Comfortable win.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point
18.
because it's one of the biggest matches of the season, that, isn't it, to get to the Crucible. So it's one they'll certainly both remember. O'Donnell has never played there. That was his chance to walk out at the Theatre of Dreams. Anyways, back in, got in with a good red, having broken down initially. Table's been recovered overnight, so it is playing a little differently to
23.
previous rounds. He's left this a little awkward.
Yeah, and he's not dwelling on it, but he's finished in the worst place again, when really it's hard to finish there. But it doesn't matter when you play a recovery shot like that.
Well, that to me was key to it yesterday. He wasn't flawless yesterday, but when he did go slightly wrong, he wasn't giving it the woe is me act. He wasn't reacting. That is what he's worked on. We heard from Chris Henry earlier. That's what he's worked on. And Obviously, it worked yesterday. He got the win. Didn't get on his own case. That's what he'll be looking to stay in that mindset today.
Well, he didn't play that. He saw the hand go up. I think he tried to avoid hitting a red, but he crashed into the first one. More often than not, you'd end up knocking that red safe, but it's gone near a pocket, so he was lucky there. He's aware of that. And if he's thinking about playing on the pink to right middle here, positionally that's a good shot to play. Deciding to go up the table, though.
30.
If he played on the pink to the right middle, it was very easy to get behind the two reds. This is not perfect by any means.
36.
That was a little apology for the piece of luck knocking the red over the pocket, unplanned.
Elliot Slessor, 36.
Yeah, another visit where he just didn't control position and just put himself under it. Eventually he's broken down. Didn't want to be playing this from cue ball on the cushion.
One.
Probably the other factor about this match really is these two playing each other. It's not a disrespect to them, but they're never going to play on the match table unless they've gone this far in the event, against each other anyway. And it's just a truthful fact, really, isn't it, that they would only be on the match table playing a Ronnie or a Judd or Mark Selby, Mark Allen, all these people. Oh goodness, that was a nervy one. There's no getting away from it. That really was. It was a sitter.
Yeah, it really was. So Slessor gets a third chance, 51 in front already. He's missed that. I mean, he was a heavy favourite here because a couple of red safe which favours him, but didn't go in. Nerves have descended already.
If he can get through to the red down near the right corner, if he can, he may as well try and cut it in if it is potable. Perhaps he can't get to enough. The cross double here to the right middle is the shot he's playing, in fact. Nice shot. Nice shot. Safety, of course, a big part of it.
One.
Rolling up, it's not sure. Probably not going to be worth much. Interesting, though, that he's put the brown safe, which I think is
Elliot Slessor, one.
a much better shot, in fact, because they're just making it really difficult for a possible counter-attack in the frame from O'Donnell. So I think he's thinking straight on that basis of that last shot. the rest out. I couldn't understand why, but of course he's coming down off the cushion to hit those 2 reds. Can see that red, I think, on the above the black, or certainly a good part of it.
So Slessor, as it stands, needs 1 red. Got the security of these 2 reds safe-ish. The brown, of course, he's put safe.
Yes, he's not going to disturb those 2 reds very much. Although, as he left any of the red near the pocket available to pot, he's come around to have an anxious look. Now, I don't think he can pot that. If O'Donnell can somehow develop those couple of reds tied up on the top right there, that would be surely beneficial to anything else he can do. And while they are there, he can't really win the frame in 1 visit. Well, that's as good as anything we've seen all week. And as Dave said, it was frame ball, firing snookers, which of course O'Donnell will pursue now. It's a beautiful shot. It makes up for the one he missed in that pocket, which was about 100 times easier.
That'll make him feel good, won't it? That's hampered over the green. Beautiful striking. So O'Donnell, he's in a snooker, he needs 1.
Foul.
Wow.
Elliot Slessor full.
He didn't get there. Incredible.
Wow, I thought he'd reached it, actually. Clearly, let's have another look at this. I'm sure Colin Humphries is absolutely right. Yeah, I thought I saw the red move, but he's the man in charge, and he was on top of things. I'm sure he was spot on.
So, obviously now 2 snookers needed. Yeah, he had that chance, didn't he? Missed that yellow, which was a bad early sign, really. Only real good chance he had in the frame.
Strange thing is, as well as he played last night, he kind of fell over the line in the end, didn't he, Dave? I mean, I was watching the match, and he missed a pink to left corner for the match, and then he missed a couple of other chances, 2 or 3 after that. So when he kind of didn't leave the match in quite the brilliant form he played for the most part of it.
That's why the black was such a good shot, that he actually knocked in to win, because as you say, he had squandered a few chances before that. Well, he takes the blue 51 behind 43 on, so it becomes a bit of a taller order. It'd be 2 4-point snookers to tie, 3 to win.
Six. Seven.
Well, I think this is going to have to go in, or else it's definitely frame over. Luca Bracell had a shot not dissimilar to this to take that into a decider against O'Donnell last night. Cue ball a bit further away. I think that's end of frame.
7.
It is.
Frame conceded. Frame.
Yeah,
Elliot Slessor.
it took a bit of winning, but in the end, Slessor did dominate it. He needed a few chances, but just chipped away. Potted that wonderful red, hampered over the green. And he leads 1-0. It's first to 6 to reach the final. Semi-final Saturday in Llandudno, the Welsh Snooker Open, a long-running event, this first stage, 1992, and here we are with an unexpected matchup for sure. Elliot Slessor, the world number 50, against Martin O'Donnell, the world number 76. Slessor's won the opening frame. Took a bit of winning, but we're underway here. Best of 11, the winner plays John Higgins or Gary Wilson. Of course, they're up this evening. I think anybody sort of handing Higgins the trophy already hasn't been paying attention, have they, lately in this event? And indeed, we got to the Scottish Open. Of course, he was favourite there on semi-finals day. Noppen Sengun beat him. Well, another beautifully cued shot from Slessor, and maybe now he's won the first frame, he'll feel settled into the match.
Yeah, and the angle on the black is A1 also. Serious split of the bunch. He kind of lost the cue ball a bit, and they got the double kiss, which is good. There is a red that's just gone very close to the black spot, which is not in his favour. Black is completely blocked off.
8.
So that's a little unfortunate. That's that side of it. But it's put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit, isn't it? Early in this frame, one way or another. If you consider the red along the cushion, with the rest to screw, the one he's looking at now, to screw back for blue or pink is difficult. Depends what else there is for him. I think he's faced with that. I honestly think that's his only shot. And it would be easier if he could run it through on the black, but of course he can't. That's a really good shot.
9.
That's a very well cued shot with the rest, because he had to screw back. There was no other way of getting on a colour.
Yeah, so in just a few shots, he's given himself, well, a great chance to go 2-0 up. That's what he'll be feeling, I'm sure. This was the split.
Yeah, it's a tremendous split, wasn't it? But the red went onto the, well, very close to the black spot.
14.
The other piece of news which is good is that the blue doesn't have to be spotted right next to the pink. It goes on the pink spot instead, which I think he would have deserved for the first 2 shots of the break. He deserved to be tangled up all the high-value colours.
He's made 3 centuries in the tournament. Of course, he beat Ali Carter in round 1. Sometimes there's so many matches, you know, in the early stages of these tournaments, you sort of, a result like that gets overlooked, but that was a great win, 4-1. Andrew Higginson sadly had to withdraw because of a family bereavement, so he had a walkover. Then Dylan Emery, a young Welshman. And I think a big win over Fang Zhengyi, who had been playing well and played a good decider. Slessor won it in 1 visit. Then, of course, yesterday, beat Dominic Dale here on the main table.
22.
If you want to talk about shock winners, I mean, Fang Zhengyi was the one, the king of the shock winners, I think, more so than Jordan Brown winning here. Win that European Masters against O'Sullivan in the final. No, Jordan Brown had the same opponent, but Fang had hardly done a thing in the game when he won that event, so it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, he was best known for having a phobia about making
27.
centuries, which seems extraordinary, but he wanted his first century to be a maximum, but he kind of got over that anyway. Good win for Slessor the other night. It was a late finish, as so many of them are in this format.
28.
You sort of emerge, if you get through to the Friday, you emerge into the light, don't you? Suddenly, you know, you're through with the chance, as everyone would feel, to win the trophy. O'Donnell just having to sit and watch this. Hasn't had any looking at all yet in this frame.
33. 34.
Goodness
Elliot
me, what a
Slessor,
miss. What a
34.
miss. It never looked in. I thought it was my eyes were deceiving me because I didn't think he was going to miss it. I think he waved his arm around as if there was a reason for it, but the reason was he hit it wrongly. Nothing else.
Well, it's set off wide, that's a fact. And there's room for this red.
Yeah, he wants to move the red away from the black if he can, but he's not tried to do that.
One.
Maybe he just didn't quite have the angle, in fact, to move that red by the black, because he'd have had to put it into the top side of the pocket where the blue was already waiting. So now he has to get into this match at this point, because he has started slowly, O'Donnell. Missed that bad yellow in the first frame.
6.
Has done hardly anything to this point in the match, but he's got a great chance here.
Seven.
Yeah, his tournament actually began in the qualifying section. Of course, only the top 16 have their matches held over. And he was actually in trouble against Ryan Thomason from Australia. He was 2-0 down, he was 3-2 down. Managed to get through that just to get to Llandudno. And then has beaten some experienced winners. Chris Wakelin, of course, shootout champ. Anthony Hamilton, former German Master champ. Marco Fu, won 3 ranking events. And, of course, the world champion, Luca Brissell. So some great wins there.
I think when he went off the tour,
13.
he looked a little bit shot to pieces. A few of his matches just looked to be unable to finish them off almost wherever the balls were placed. So I think he's admitted that this time on the tour, and of course he's in the first season, so he's in a strong place in the rankings potentially at the end of next season. This time around he's trying to view things a little differently. Don't get too wrapped up in the technicalities of the game. He's a little quicker than he was, and it can only be a good thing for his overall game.
Yeah, one thing we can say is there'll be no points coming off his ranking on the tier system.
20.
So points can only go on for Martin O'Donnell. Points going on in this frame unexpectedly. I'm sure he was concerned until Slessor unexpectedly missed the blue. This is his best scoring chance, really, of the match so far. And a chance also to land a psychological blow by punishing that miss on the blue.
21.
Yeah, I think when you see somebody's world ranking, in this case O'Donnell at 76, you can be misleading if it's on the as we got at the 2-year list, but a player's only in their first season. There's a little look at the notes, whatever's on there.
Well, some extraordinary noise going on.
Somebody having to just maybe leave the arena at a slightly
like to go,
inopportune
please?
moment.
Well, Colin Humphries is maybe just trying to point to where they could have left. Anyway, they've left and we continue.
Got a round of applause there, or something. Anyway, maybe there was a reason why that person had to leave
Thank you.
sharply.
28.
Played it nicely, in fact, just a fraction too far. Yeah, I still felt that he might play that pink off the blue spot into the middle, but he decided to go into the right corner.
34.
Felt that it was too thin for the shot that he initially played. Very awkward table for me, though, isn't it? Even this next shot.
Martin O'Donnell,
A
30.
few nerves, I think, still there for both players. O'Donnell won't feel comfortable until he does win a frame.
One.
The idea, I think, was very good. Try and
3.
get into the red and the black. But of course, there was the chance he'd be on the bottom red either way. It's not quite materialised.
Elliot, Slessor, 3.
Handy little, just a slight flick on the yellow ball there. Well, it's going to be a thin one. I think if it's the two reds that he's trying to hit the right-hand side of the top one.
O'Donnell 3 out of 3 from distance so far.
One.
Well, he holds his hand up. He's on this black.
Yeah, and it's not straight, but he's on it with a not an easy shot to, if he plays it, to hold for the red. I mean, it's really difficult. He's going to have to drag this in, I think. Hope that he can not send the cue ball too far beyond the red. It's a good shot, that. Red goes
8.
into the right corner.
Nine.
Now, of course, he's not a right-handed player. If he was, it would be easy to lean over and play this, so he'll be using the
16.
from under the table. Extended rest or something.
This is the pocket Slessor missed that blue into. You remember the red he knocked in, immediately got the reds open. It was a wonderful scoring chance. Missed unexpectedly. That was the start of his problems in this frame.
Thank you. 17.
So the black will put him 21 in front. He will need yellow and green as well.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem with this shot is if he's playing it sort of one cushion, you can misjudge the pace of it. You go beyond the yellow. Oh, that'll do nicely. That's a brilliant shot.
24.
He's a steely character, Martin O'Donnell. Slessor will be aware of that.
Okay.
And just having the white clint here, but he's dug in well here. You know, he looked for all the world like 2-0, but he seemed to be ready when the chance came.
$26.
So this green should be one each.
$29.
Yeah, he got a little lucky when he put the red that he knocked the black near the pocket. But really, Slessor missed a very comfortable shot earlier in the frame than that on the blue.
Martin O'Donnell, 29.
Well, that's not great, is it? You know, the frame was over. OK, snooker required, but no reason to miss that, really. Just put himself under it for no reason here. She's close, you know. Well, look at that. Wow, he's in trouble now.
What a brilliant shot that is. That really is, and it makes it even worse. Because, as you say, Dave, you know, the shot he missed on the brown was an absolute gimme, to be honest, and the frame was as good as over. There was no pressure on it to speak of. So why he missed it, I'm not sure, but because everyone misses balls, he missed a yellow into that pocket, which was that easier, and that easy as well. Maybe even more so. And there's plenty of room around the back of this, that's the other thing. So all of a sudden there's a plot twist in the frame, which looked over.
Yeah, it's like he sort of just mentally switched off on the brown, but that can come back to bite you in a big way. And Slessor's played a brilliant snooker. If he doesn't hit this, then Slessor can tie and force a respot. Wow.
Foul.
Do you know, I thought that was a really good
Slessor,
effort at
4.
first, because I'm sure he half screwed it into the cushion to straighten the angle. But as you saw, it wasn't enough. He might get another one here, never mind the tie. In behind the black. Not hard enough. Well, not really, I suppose offline more than anything, but it was never going to be a snooker. So Slessor could tie the frame. Not a good shot at all. How's he managed to leave the brown on here? So almost as you were. If this goes in, O'Donnell should be all right.
A bit relieved. He put himself under it there, but 2 snookers needed now.
Martin O'Donnell, 4.
Elliot Slessor, a bit like Gary Wilson, of course, they're from the same area. They're known for playing on for snookers, of course. Remember Wilson in that Scottish Open decided a semi-final against Show You Long, getting 3.
Gave it everything.
Extension, please.
Long rest.
Your largest extension.
Oh, sorry. There you go. Cheers.
Well, I mean, I can't see any real in-off dangers here. He plays to cut it to the middle. It's always the one thing you're looking to avoid.
I'm afraid. Martin
He gets the
O'Donnell.
nod from Elliot Slessor, who wasn't impressed there. He got the snooker, but of course his problem started when he missed that blue earlier on. Semi-finals level at 1 each. Welcome back to venue Cymru here in Llandudno, where it's 1 each between Elliot Slessor and Martin O'Donnell. Tonight we've got John Higgins, Gary Wilson, second semi-final. This is the last leg, of course, of the Home Nations series this season. Of course, Wilson won the last of them, the Scottish Open. Judd Trump won the first 2, the English and Northern Ireland. playing for the Ray Reardon Trophy in honour of the 6 times world champion in the 1970s, the legend Ray Reardon. Yeah, tonight's interesting. John Higgins, of course, he's sort of been knocking on the door for a while, hasn't he, to win a title. It's actually 3 years since he won a ranking tournament. And he's playing, as I say, the man who won the last Home Nations event, Gary Wilson. Will be on air from 7:15 local time, 7:45 CET, for the whole match live, of course.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Frame 3. Elliot Slessor to break. Thank you.
So Slessor had the chance for 2-0. That frame's gone, it's 1 each. And this is the third of a possible 11 they're going to play here this afternoon.
Turn the phone off, please.
Yeah, they have phones in Llandudno, as they do everywhere else, and one has just gone off there. Everyone just settling down here for what could be quite a lengthy afternoon. It's been a little bit stop-start so far. The highest break just 36 from the first 2 frames.
Looking for a very thin edge of that.
Foul, a miss.
And I thought he was
Elliot
just going
Slessor full.
just move it slightly, but he didn't. See it again, he got it really close to hitting it. Wow, that is close.
Colin Humphries, the referee here.
A bit more. Yeah, you okay then. Thank you.
Question is, has he got a clear shot at anything?
Foul, a miss. Elliot Slessor full.
That makes me think that he has, and he's going to be offered, given a warning, basically, if you can see one. We've got to be able to hit all of a ball.
You okay with that? If we have to call a miss this time, you lose the frame, okay?
Good news.
Different shot will be played. Can't afford to try the thin contact again, or else that'll be a frame gone.
Been a couple of instances, isn't there, lately, where the referee's forgotten to warn the player, but not here. I didn't expect Colin Humphries to forget.
I don't think that shot was doing anything much. O'Donnell will just roll into the bunch off the right cushion. Could have been worse. Red you miss is one that can finish anywhere. Saying that is a possibility. This red to left middle looks incredibly tight. The only thing that is favour is it is close to it. Hit the wrong red first. Hit the wrong red on the way through, and that's the reason he missed it. It still nearly dropped, but you'll see the other red moves, which wasn't really in play. I didn't think it was anyway.
One.
Well, has he not finished on the red?
5.
No, he hasn't. Bit annoying that, just getting
Martin O'Donnell.
almost
5.
alongside the green ball. That's a dreadful shot, that really is. You'll know that sometimes when you go hard into the bunch, even when you're sort of going in the opposite direction, the ball can go back downwards, and that's what happened. That is one of the great gifts he's been handing out there to O'Donnell.
1.
Yeah, I do think that miss blue has affected Slessor. You know, he had a bit of a kind of charge about him, didn't he, around the table before that, but been a little bit kind of negative in this frame. He just played a bit of a howler there, and Martin O'Donnell now needs to reap the rewards. I think it feels like he's sort of on top psychologically right now, despite almost throwing that last frame away when he missed the brown and got snookered.
8.
Well, O'Donnell said yesterday after his match that, you know, he has tried to be a bit more fluent, don't get too wrapped up in things on the table. Don't get too analytical and slow things down. Here's a moment when he really just could try and get a bit of fluency because it's a chance. He's a better player when he's got rhythm in his game. But at the moment he's landing in not great places. Once
40.
again, still got the rub of the rest, but I don't think he played it like this.
Well, he recovered, and as you say, he didn't make a meal of that. You know, it was missable. He put himself under it, but he didn't sort of play it as if he was under it. I spoke to him right at the start of the season, of course, back on tour, and he won his group at the Championship League, the first event in the summer. And he said afterwards that he was aware that he'd become bogged down. He didn't enjoy playing like that, and he was determined not to play like that this season. Of course, as he plays a nice shot there, of course, the first frame with Hamilton this week.
22.
It did look like it would never end. In fact, it didn't really start. There were 2 re-racks. So an hour and 15 minutes in, they were starting for a 3rd time.
Which is remarkable, isn't it, that it took all that time? And I think it was not so much a stalemate, was it, at first? It was just lots of safety shots taking reds to the same side of the table. Yeah, so they didn't exactly rush through the frame.
$30.
Only just. And that will come as a great relief. They didn't. This promising chance didn't end there.
$37. $38.
He looked at the red below the pink to the left corner, but I think you'd have had to play a cannon on one of the other reds. That's a nice little stun. So just a chance for him to step up
43.
tempo and the standard of the match here by making a single visit break from here. Because he got in earlier and got out of position on a red. He was hiding behind the green, unfortunately.
So, getting closer to the winning line in this frame, but Slessor really set the chance up in the shot he played. As I say, since he missed that blue in frame 2, he's just not looked kind of right.
51.
I mean, you shouldn't think it would make a lot of difference, one shot, but I mentioned it before recently, but CJ Wee in the World Championship over 4 sessions, he missed a green, and it was one of the reasons that he gave away a 9-frame advantage, I think. He didn't quite recover from it as the longer the match went, and that's a 4-session match. 33 frames. Missing a ball can affect you.
56.
John Higgins has had it, hasn't he? Of late, that's what he's been trying to iron out with this sort of sports psychologist. The danger is you're dwelling on something that's already happened that you can't affect because it's happened, rather than
57.
focusing on what's ahead of you. Anyway, O'Donnell, he's focusing here. This blue to lead by 59, so he'd need one more red as well to lead 2-1. It's been a nice break, this. I mean, they were all kind of there for him, but we've seen all sorts missed already. It's easily the highest break of the day so far. Just checking the scores, but this will get him certainly to the snooker's required stage.
Yeah, smattering of applause. More than that, maybe.
63.
Always good to pot a ball or two beyond that stage of snookers required. It Kind of just puts the frame completely to bed. Often your opponent won't get out of their chair. They're obliged to when it's one snooker. Maybe even two. He's getting to grips with the conditions. Both players are a little bit at sea earlier on. The table's been recovered since the earlier matches.
71.
Been a decent break this, to set a better standard, I think.
Yes, and he's showing Slessor that, okay, you leave me in like you did, you'll get punished. It's not going to take me 3 visits, it's taken me 1. Didn't bring the red out, but the frame is his. Remember, he was snookered on the brown in the last frame, having missed it. You know, Slessor had the chance to force the respot, left the brown on, so it could have been 2-0.
Martin O'Donnell, 78 on the frame.
But O'Donnell got the chance, took the chance in this frame. 78, the highest break of the match so far. And it is Martin O'Donnell, the world number 76, who leads the semi-final by 2 frames to 1. The penultimate day of the Welsh Open, semi-finals day, and Martin O'Donnell, having lost the opening frame, has gone 2-1 up, made a break of 78 there. Can he gain the advantage at the mid-session interval? We'll find out here. Of course, in the second frame, he broke off, left a long red, and it looked like that might be his only shot. Slessor potted it, got the reds open, missed a blue not long afterwards, and that's kind of the beginning of his problems. But he's got to regroup. There's a long way to go yet.
Foul and a miss.
What a mistake.
Martin O'Donnell, 4.
I don't know what the miss can be done about. Can't believe he could have it put back, because you'd never be able to recreate that shot. He's trying to... I mean, he's not trying to cut it in, but to put those balls back. Goodness, he is trying to put it back. I think this is a tough call for any referee. I mean, okay, the brown was on its spot. Clearly, we just started the frame. But to get the amount of the red hittable exactly right, I find that a very difficult call for any referee.
Forward.
But quarter ball to the green pocket. And just a fraction back. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Okay with that? Thank you.
I don't think, to me, they would look like he could see more of the red that time. I've got to be honest. I mean, I'd say it was a horrible replacement, but I kind of think that much red was available first time. Maybe I'm wrong. And he just was an error just to hit the brown. Probably doesn't mean a lot in the grand scheme of things. At the wrong side of that one.
we'll see how this match unfolds. But if it remains close, say with 4 each, certainly 5 each, it's going to be very nervy, isn't it? It already is, and we're still relatively early on. It's such a big match, obviously, to get to a ranking finals, what they've been dreaming of.
Yeah, I mean, as you pointed out earlier on at the beginning, you know, the spin-offs of being in the Champion of Champions, there is a tour place, beg your pardon, a Players' Championship place awaiting the winner of this event. If either of these two go on to win today and tomorrow, starts, of course, on Monday, that event, they'll be whisked through the list and be in it. Seems a long way off now to even think about it. At the moment, Elliot Slessor is leaving shots on, and quite a lot of them. He anxiously walks around to see if the red is on, but if it is, it's another chance.
Yeah, and it was a poor safety from O'Donnell, who you know, played a poor shot the shot before, so he's not entirely comfortable either, even though he made that 78.
Yeah, as he left the red, I see O'Donnell was kind of looking away. Get the feeling, surely he can't be on the red, can he? He wouldn't be looking at anything like this. Yeah, a little fortunate there, Slessor. I think he's got to take the cue ball up the table, do his best.
That young lad is maybe a player of the future. Here to see what it's all about today. I think the interesting thing about the dynamic here is you would feel if either one of these reached a semi-final, they'd be a big underdog. They'd be playing a top player. Now, when Slessor got to his first in Belfast 2017, he played Mark Williams, an established champion, and even the British Open, he played Gary Wilson, who had been in finals to that point and was certainly favourite. There isn't an obvious favourite here. O'Donnell has only been in one semi-final before in a shootout, which is obviously just a different form of the game. So they're both sensing a big chance, and it's definitely put an edge of tension on the match. This was the blue, meanwhile, that Slessor missed in the last frame. That has certainly changed the dynamic. Sorry, frame 2 it was. Changed the dynamic of this match.
Yeah, again, I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. I just don't see anything rolling off at all. If it did, it was the most marginal amount. You know, to miss that, you'd have to sort of turn right as we were watching. I think he was thinking about the next shot. Getting position, took his eye off it.
So Slessor on the back foot now. It's 37 minutes since he's potted one in the match. It's a little spell of safety here. Well, not safe.
That's a poor shot as well. He's made two really bad safety shots. One in the last frame which opened everything up, and hitting the brown. I mean, if you're going to play up there, take that risk. You can't hit a bulk colour.
One.
Well, O'Donnell, of course, will pick up on the fact that Slessor is not feeling great. He's back to reading his bit of paper. This is O'Donnell's chance to press on, try and get a two-frame advantage at the interval.
$16. $17.
Well, I don't know if he's quite straight enough on this red.
24.
Have to push through other reds. Could play the one to the middle. Might wish to stay on the black for now, because I think it's as easy as anything really, just playing on the black.
$25.
Has he gone too far? No, he hasn't, so that'll be okay.
32.
For a second, I thought he was going to hide behind the other red. It's happened 2 or 3 times already in this match to him, but not this time. Well, it's a bit early to say he's going to win the frame here, but I think the story of these 4 frames, if O'Donnell goes on to score heavily, is that the Slessor has played 2 rank bad safety shots, I mean really bad ones. I want to keep on saying it, but you're playing from a fairly innocuous table. In the last frame, there's just nothing going on, and he just leaves everything on. And it was the same here, because he was playing off the bunch up the table. He chose to play the shot. Hitting the brown, he's done a lot of damage. So
40.
from nothing, something very big turned up, and that's all because of 2 poor shots. It's a bit different
41.
if you're put in trouble and you make a safety error. He was in no trouble on either occasion. Well, if he's going to play this bottom red, he's going to be going
48.
through other reds, and he's going to be really developing things in the frame. It's a question of getting onto his colour. Oh, that's a little unlucky. Got close to it.
Martin O'Donnell, 48.
Now, Elliot Slessor with a chance to read a few notes and have a rethink, and now this is something he has to make count.
Yeah, is Slessor ready to take this chance? It's a big one to level up. just steady the ship.
The cue ball's gone a little bit awry here.
8.
I think he's all right, but it wasn't where he meant to be. Run it through. Pink to the opposite middle.
9.
So find out if all the sort of mental fortitude you need at this level, is there, because if he can get to 2-all, I think he'd be quite satisfied.
Yeah, it's a very significant phase in this match, I think. Slessor, was on the back foot, as I say. He was playing some poor shots. He didn't look happy in that seat, but he's got a chance now, which is all you want. It's a good one, and it's about being positive here and making the most of it.
Don't think the pink goes on its own. It might end up on the brown spot. I think Elliot is believing that because he's played on the red that's in the way. If the pink goes, which it doesn't.
15. $16.
Downside, of course, is if he doesn't take this chance, then he's going to
23.
have a rather uncomfortable interval.
Well, so far so good. I thought the black was quite a decent shot, the last one. This was the ball. I mean, I've seen those drop. It was top jaw. A lot of it was about getting the cue ball out onto the black ball as well. There's not anything difficult about it as far as where the balls are.
31.
It's just the situation of getting to 2-2. That would be a disappointment to O'Donnell, of course.
32.
You just sort of feel, don't you, that this is shaping up to be a close finish, and I'm sure a tense one to this match. This is sort of jockeying for position at the moment.
$39. $40. $47. $48.
Slightly awkward cueing. I think if he has a slight angle here, he might be able to just get beyond the line of the blue, so he's on the red that he's closest to. He has to stun it. He has to cue right down on the ball, which is not nice. Should get this, but he doesn't really want to be playing this to get underneath the cue ball. Hard to think he was ever going to miss it. Is he hampered again here? I think the blue will spot this time.
53. 54. $59. Yeah, sure.
Asking for the white to be cleaned. It feels like this is quite a big shot, actually. You'd fancy him for it in normal circumstances, but we've seen various balls missed. The pressure is on. Can't understate what a big match this is for these two.
A little bit of a stretch, this one. It's looking like yellow followed by yellow again.
$62. $64.
Well, of course, it was important for the frame of snooker that he took this chance, but for his frame of mind as well.
$67.
It's ended up a good frame, hasn't it, when you think about it? Took a while to get started, but it was all down to this one ball when O'Donnell was on 6 reds, 6 blacks. And that's his last shot, so... on the brink.
Yeah, when he came to the table, I said, is he ready to take this chance? The answer, yes.
71.
So his previous travails in this match are forgotten about. We start again, really, don't we? After the interval, we're going to be level.
76.
I just get the feeling it's going to be nip and tuck all afternoon. But one of these two are going to be in the final tomorrow. Who is going to step it up? Who is going to come through? We still don't know, but Elliot Slessor, importantly for him, has made a frame-winning contribution from that mistake from O'Donnell.
82.
He made a 78 in the last frame. Elliot Slessor has stepped in and made 82 in the fourth. So the first semi-final here at the Welsh Open is perfectly poised as the players head off for the mid-session interval. Elliot Slessor and Martin O'Donnell are all square at 2-2. Remember, 6 the target to play John Higgins or Gary Wilson in Sunday's final. No more intervals, though, so a big couple of hours ahead of these two.
Elliot Slessor to break.
Elliot Slessor to get the first semi-final of the Welsh Open back underway. Level at 2-2 with Martin O'Donnell. Slessor is 50 in the world, O'Donnell 76. It's not a match I think anyone would have predicted pre-tournament, but they've earned their places here with some good wins during the week. Who is going to make it through to the final?
One.
Stayed down on the shot a long time there, but it was worth it. Hit it beautifully. Bit of a shame the cue ball stuck to the side cushion well a bit. Dropping the blue ends. Big shot, this. Not easy. Running in behind a red.
Six.
Everyone back from the interval, looking, as I say, to see who's going to come through. how they're going to come through. Will either one pull away? Feels like it might be close right the way through, but you never know.
7.
O'Donnell looking good already here. And a year ago, he would have been playing probably this weekend in a Q Tour event, hoping to build up the points to finish top of the rankings, which is what he did. That's how he got his tour card back. Initially turned professional back in 2012.
Oh, that's a terrific shot. That is a really good shot to play on that red, because it's the real key red. Taking that away from the path of the black to the right corner and bringing it into play.
$11.
A little bit close, but he's okay. He's on the red to right corner. What follows it, the red is very close to the left corner, from just further back perhaps.
$19.
Of course, that's the shot that cost him ultimately in frame 4, but that's all gone now. Got to look at what's ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a completely dissimilar shot that he's faced with here, is it? I mean, it isn't quite the same, but the same principle, potting it with
26.
the angle, going off the bunch. But I think he's a bit straighter this time. It's a slightly better proposition than the previous. That's what he tried the first time. It was a beautiful shot. He's played 3 or 4 excellent shots in this break. The opening red, the shot on the green positionally in that. So a good comeback from the mid-session, these last 6 or 7 shots. He's got to make it really count now.
Yeah, I think Jimmy was spot on when he said, OK, you know, you could look at it, you should be 3-1 up, but if Slessor doesn't miss the blue, you're 2-0 down, suddenly you're struggling early on. The fact is, it's 2 each, and we move on.
Give me a second, please, Martin.
Colin Humphries just asking for a moment just to check this pink where it needs to go. In a line with the spots is the answer, of course, as close to its own spot as it can.
Thank you.
Of course, the new
33.
Saudi event, the Riyadh Masters, which is coming up, there's going to be the golden ball in that, which is the idea is if you make a maximum, you then pot it for extra
34.
points of money, but it's still not quite established where that's going to be on the table, if it's going to be there all the time, or will it suddenly appear?
$41. $42.
Red to right middle. Saw him actually in the mid-session, just
49.
very calmly having a little practice hitting balls just to take away the nerves, I suppose. Can't really achieve a lot of improvement from practicing, just potting a few staying in the moment, I suppose. But he has come out and has
50.
looked very good. And I suppose we showed you the shot in the previous frame that is the reason he's not 3-1 up. It's the only shot he missed there. He was punished. It's not as if he's done much wrong.
$55.
But this red will be the last of the ones in open play. Nice angle on the blue to come down and move a few, I think.
56.
That's absolutely perfect. Just a nudge into reds. Well, it's okay, but only okay.
61.
Red has come out. Be a thin cut, actually, from the overhead. It looks horribly thin. But that's all he's got. He could be retreating from the scene of the reds here and potting this. Overcut it by an absolute mile.
Foul. 61. Martin O'Donnell.
Good 61, but
Elliot
not
Slessor.
ending satisfactorily for him.
No, he's a bit unlucky, really, not to land on an easier one, as you say. Massively overcut it. .57 in the frame, then still 6 reds on.
I suppose he was a little fortunate in the end that by overcutting so badly, that red on the right is not over the pocket or out from the cushion anyway. He might have to play it, I think. He seems to be against the idea of it. Very calculated shot there. Wondered if he would play the right-hand red just down the cushion, but that was a much better option, actually. And when he potted it, he deserved to get that positive kiss on the pink ball. So not winning the frame in one visit, but seemingly going to do it in 2 without too many problems. And Elliot Slessor knows that, safe to say that O'Donnell has
7.
moved his game up a notch. He's going to have to do the same.
Yes, he's looked very good, hasn't he, in this frame? But for not getting the desired split, I'm sure he would have won it in one visit.
8.
No matter, he should have won it now. Just because it kind of feels like it'll be close all afternoon doesn't mean it will be. You know, if he can keep this going, he could pull away.
Yeah, I mean, we think we know all these things because it just feels a close match, doesn't it? You know, there's not a lot between them in their style of game. They're both low ranked. There's lots of reasons why this could be a very edgy, close match. But there were lots of reasons why these two wouldn't be playing in this match as well. But they're there, so they've defied all the odds. This frame is absolutely
30.
done. And O'Donnell is going to be in front again.
just do with this in it? I think Slessor would play on here if he didn't pot this. Yeah, that should take away any threat of that. So it's over to Slessor if he gets a chance in the next to keep pace with O'Donnell. No one's been more than a frame in front so far. That shouldn't make a difference.
14 and a frame.
Elliot Slessor nods his head, so Martin O'Donnell, who led 2-1, is back in front here. In Llandudno this afternoon, 3-2, 6 the target to reach the final. Ben Cymru here in Llandudno hosting the Welsh Open. It's been so well attended all week here in North Wales, and of course it's sold out tomorrow for the final. Who's going to be there? Well, John Higgins and Gary Wilson play the second semi-final tonight. Right now we're watching Martin O'Donnell and Elliot Slessor, and O'Donnell leading 3-2. Just waiting for Slessor to return for frame 6 of a possible 11. But do join us tonight, I'm sure you will, for the second semi-final. Intriguing match this. Gary Wilson, who won the last Home Nations event, the Scottish Open, and John Higgins looking for his first ranking title in 3 years. Of course, he's won the Welsh 5 times. He's the record holder. When he won yesterday, he actually set a record for the most matches won in this tournament. Just moving one ahead of Ronnie O'Sullivan, 92. That's a 7:45 CET, 7:45. In fact, Ronnie will be with us tonight in the studio with all the build at 7:45 in the UK. Here comes Slessor, ready for frame 6.
Okay, Martin. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Frame 6. Martin O'Donnell to break.
Martin
Thank
O'Donnell
you.
back in front. Quickest frame of the match so far, just 12 minutes. He made 61 and then got a second chance to kill it off. What he's also been doing when he was off the tour, and in fact still when he's on the tour, is coaching locally where he lives. And of course he was previously coach at the Royal Automobile Club in London. But of course he was determined to come back onto tour as a player. Quite an aggressive safety that, opening the reds up.
Indeed, and it's going to put a little bit of pressure on the next shot. Got to take it on, and he is. Quite a bit of emphasis on taking the cue ball out of there and around the table. I thought he'd get this. Didn't hit it as well as in that last frame, that superb opening red that he knocked into the opposite corner.
Well,
not a favourable kiss there, so bringing the black out is all and up the table. Interesting way of playing it.
Elliot Slessor.
I think
1.
these two, well, they're similar as they. I think they have to force themselves to be positive. Don't think it comes naturally. They're good players, but you know, there's a tendency maybe to sit on the back foot sometimes, which they now have to make themselves shake it out of, you know, and try and take these matches by the scruff of the neck. And now they're playing each other, probably more important. That's what he's looking at. It's absolutely straight by the look of it, but that, you know, he looked nothing on that low angle cue ball, and then the object ball has got to travel a long way. The object ball, actually the length of the whole table. That's why he missed it. You know, it just felt from the view we had, and they're great views, don't get me wrong, but like it was an unmissable shot. But you can see that it takes forever to get there.
One.
So O'Donnell in early again. We saw him do the damage in the last frame. As I say, he was a bit of a late starter, really. He didn't play a junior event till he was 15. You know, we get Judd Trump, for example, he won a national event at 10. So people develop at different ages. O'Donnell, he reached the English Amateur final in 2006. That was the kind of first sign of him, really, that there might be good things ahead.
9.
But even then, it took a few years to get on tour. It was another 6 years till he turned pro.
He's a bit of a grinder, isn't he? Let's be honest. There's nothing wrong with that. There's been Cliff Thorburn is affectionately known as that, and that is his style of play. And he's a hard man to beat. That's one thing we can safely say. When the scoring's working, he's a bit better than his position in the rankings, but that will be, I think, well and truly in the 64 when his 2 years are up, probably quite deep into it, I would say, if he keeps getting these kind of runs.
Slessor sort of watching and not watching at the same time.
Well, as I said earlier, they're quite similar players, but Slessor has made a couple of poor safety shots earlier on, especially. But kind of the difference between the two of them, but there's no doubt O'Donnell has stepped up his form a bit.
Yeah, he doesn't give much away, that does he? Just in himself, you know. He's very kind of straight bat about everything, which is a good way to be if you can, not give any clues away how you're feeling to your opponent.
And he's a very likeable, mild-mannered individual as well, is Martin O'Donnell. Those are all the good things that happened to him in the game, I think.
Yeah, he actually said, I mentioned that he was on the books of Wickham when he was young, and he actually said that that football environment, because he was so shy as a kid, it didn't actually suit him. He liked playing,
30.
but he kind of didn't fit into the team. Of course, snooker is not a team game. In fact, the exact opposite of that. Many an introvert have found success at this sport.
Green ball. $34.
It's a lot earlier on this, but yeah, you can't really say he changed the match, but he didn't get it off to the kind of start he wanted because he was just looking good.
35.
Having won the first frame, and then he just missed a bad ball, really. And we've all done it. It's one of those things. I don't think it rolled off. We've been through all that. Mistakes will always be made. Very few matches involve perfect snooker.
Yeah, I mean, if he was 4-1 down, obviously that would feel more significant, but he made a really good break, actually, in frame 4.
40.
The highest of the match, in fact, 82. But he'll be concerned at the moment because he's watching O'Donnell looking relaxed here, looking composed, looking assured.
41. $46.
There's always the worry. That was always the
47.
worry. It was kind of in the way of the shot. If he could have just sidestepped that red, he'd been fine. He got an absolutely monstrous kiss on it, I have to say. I mean, one thing not being on the black, but I don't think you can see any colour. So it's a moment that might come back to haunt him.
Yellow ball.
Playing a little swerve.
Martin O'Donnell. 47.
So, just went wrong unexpectedly. He's got a useful lead, but still plenty on. 46 in it. Still 6 reds available. That's a good effort, that. You wouldn't describe these pockets as generous, I don't think.
No, and the extra force on this shot is the reason it probably stayed out. Maybe played more slowly, would have dropped in. Good cue ball, though. Yeah, but these are the frames, aren't they? If you can steal one of these, changes the dynamic of the match.
Some good safety being played here. Not much in it on the stats. O'Donnell slightly ahead on safety, slightly ahead on pot success. Obviously, he's slightly ahead in terms of the frame score, so that explains that.
Yeah, I think he just, on an overview, he's played the better snooker. But we're not at the point of anyone getting themselves in the final yet. Quite a bit of snooker potentially to be played in this match. Good shot. Nothing has come out into open play, and it's a good cue ball.
I mean, the open table favours Slessor, but obviously can't afford to leave a red on here. Oh, he's played a good one. So, yeah, it's an interesting frame now. It wasn't the worst kiss off the yellow there either. Interesting frame because those reds are in play. Of course, he's trailing, so it favours him. His frame in the balance, even though O'Donnell's 46 in front. There's the pot success I mentioned, so O'Donnell just 3% up.
Bad, of course. Those reds just been pushed a little safer as well along the bottom cushion. The red above the black spot. Slessor will be able to have a go at here, sending the cue ball up the other end of the table. Could be the start of something if it goes in. Well, not necessarily now.
Well,
What a place to finish. I mean, it's one of those you wouldn't have minded it staying on the table. That red, it might need it later on. Snooker is obviously coming here. Just a little delicate nudge. Doesn't like it, does he? Goodness.
Elliot Slessor.
It's one of those where you... it's such a short shot to play, you can actually not reach. But he did. This is trouble. Those three reds along the cushion are slightly in O'Donnell's favour, that they're actually there. If they're all out and open play, he'd been a world of trouble here. Bottom line is, though, a miss is going to be called until he hits one. It might not be straight away. He'd be more than happy with that. I know he's left a mid-range red and he did not play that. That hand goes up. Not much of a consolation, but of course he has given a half chance though. Not exactly totally safe.
It wasn't the full hand raise, was it? It was kind of half-mast, half apology, just in case he knocks this in, I guess. And he has done. Brilliant.
One.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think either you're sorry for something like a fluke or not. As you see the players raising their hands for just a minor little kiss they've got. I don't think the opponent really needs all that for a major fluke. Differently, although if you go back, watching some footage of some very old Crucible theatres in the 70s, the most outrageous fluke would be, well, there'd be nothing towards the other player at the end of it. Just laugh, whoever got the fluke.
Poomjang at the shootout last year, he just celebrated, didn't he, that fluke that
That's
time?
right, yeah. Those really bold shot to play. You know, he knows the 2 reds are a problem. The downer below the black spot. So he, you know, this is all intentional to try and just shift them into play, but somewhat unlucky to just move one of them. And the question is, does the red up the table go into the yellow pocket? If it does, he has to play that, surely. I must admit, it looks like it goes, but it's hard from the angle sometimes in front of the shot to be certain of that. Oh, it flew. It absolutely flew in. But he wasn't quite confident enough to just leave the cube further up the table. He wanted to make sure that he didn't leave a red. Now that, for that reason, this black is thinner than it should be. Yeah, this went all right, as you saw.
11.
We suspected it did, and the problem is now he's just a little further away from this. He'll take a good cueing shot. Well, he had to play it. He had to play it. The red wasn't available without the cannon. He came round to have a look on the left
19.
side, but there was nothing he could do except nudge it. So now you feel that the red down the cushion is key. It's been quite a good little break, this.
20.
The opening red down the cushion, he screwed into the right corner, and he's been fairly ambitious all the way through it.
$27. $28.
So O'Donnell came out looking good after the interval. He was looking good in this frame, but Elliot Slessor has it in his hands to draw level. There's been some good snooker played in this match. There's been some mistakes as well, but this is shaping up to be his best visit, really, because of the context.
37.
Because the danger was that man was starting to just take control. Has it been wrested back from him?
$40.
Brown, blue and pink needed for 3-3.
It's been a very determined break.
44.
He's a little straight, but the pink is up from its spot, so he shouldn't be that far away from the pink anyway. Got a slight angle to also.
49.
Well, it's not his highest break in the match, but it's surely his most important. Very impressive from Elliot Slessor.
55.
Martin O'Donnell, as I say, was looking good. He had a good lead in this frame. Slessor found a way in and has made a key break here. As the black stays out, it doesn't matter. He's levelled up. This match could yet turn into a real thriller. They cannot be separated. All square, 3-3. So 3-3, and this semi-final has potential 5 frames to go. Not that we're nosy here, but we did just catch a glimpse of, there we go. Look, we can see there, calm and breathing are words we can see written on Elliot Slessor's bit of paper. So, there's been speculation about what's on there. There's other things there as well, numbers and all sorts of things, but that, maybe the lottery numbers for tonight or something. But anyway, the key things for him, calm and breathing, and he kept calm very nicely in that 55 that he made there to win that frame. So 3-3. Still hasn't been more than the frame between them.
It's true, Dave, but I mean, if you're not breathing, you're in trouble anyway, aren't you, to be honest?
Yeah, good point.
Thank you,
Well, Elliot
7.
Slessor still very
Elliot
much
Slessor
alive
to
in
break.
this match. 3-3. What does frame 7 have in store for us? Of course, he won frame 1. That's the only time he's been in front so far.
A mile away. Absolute mile out, and the red must go to the right corner. So there's been a few minor swings towards one player or another. It's been mostly O'Donnell grasping it, but Slessor with that last frame, if he can take advantage of this opportunity, things go his way. And that went truly as well. I mean, I've heard his players saying balls are not rolling straight on this table, but they seem to be. That went in a dead straight line, mercifully. Could have got a lot of zip on that. Could have been luckier. Keeper was just ploughed through the bunch there.
Eight. Nine.
Yeah, nicely done. You know, that was missable, but he just seems to be feeling great again. Such an emotional roller coaster, this game. So many things can go for you, go against you. Sometimes it's just bad luck, but it's all about how you deal with it. They can all play. So much of it is the mental side, which is, of course, what he has been working on.
Twelve. Thirteen. $20. $21.
Just a little bit close to this. I mean, it This might affect him if he's got a screw right back. Hardly a problem, any of it. Very big match for these two. This would be the biggest matches between them they've ever played, I'm sure. Chance to meet, play in a ranking final in a match when really there's not a lot between them, let's be honest. But wouldn't be certain you could have even worked out who would be favourite to win this match. The results they've had have been promising all week, but this would be disappointing to lose. One of these two will, of course. The other one will have a lot up for grabs tomorrow, so it's the reason why there's a little bit of tension around.
So, got the rest out. 4 out of 4 so far, Slessor, with this bit of equipment.
Played to perfection, absolute perfection.
29.
Top side of the blue. Now, what a wide target. Into those bunch of reds, it is a really big target. Is he going to be lucky? There's always a chance, of course, if you're really unlucky, you go into these and you knock a red in. But you obviously can't be thinking like that. Well, he has knocked a red in. He's on one. It's not so
34.
bad. Problem is with the black unavailable to the left corner because of the red there, it might not be easy to get position, but the red is not so bad that he's on. It's another good shot. He played a similar rest shot earlier in the frame, swinging the cue ball round again onto the blue top side. Starting to make things happen. Not that time, though. I'm not sure quite what he meant to happen there.
40.
Very poor positional shot coming out of the blue. I'm genuinely not sure which red he played on. Cue ball seemed drawn to the cushion as like a magnet there. The break's over. He's now looking at safety options.
Elliot Slessor, 40.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the last frame in reverse, where, of course, O'Donnell was in, made 47, couldn't continue. Of course, he ended up losing that frame. Slessor was looking really good, but he's had to accept the break's over. And it's turned into a good match now. There were some mistakes early on, but playing the sort of snooker you'd hope to see in a semi-final.
choice of reds here. That one goes. It's probably the easier of the two. And it certainly is reachable past the yellow. But of course there's pressure on it in a different way, in that he's 40 in front, and missing it could bring O'Donnell back into the equation in this frame. Didn't play it with any confidence whatsoever, that one. Played it with a bit of fear. Fear of leaving something.
Foul, a miss. Martin O'Donnell 4.
Well, he's all of a sudden, from nowhere, got this chance. Ooh, only just. I suppose it's a situation where roles reversed, because for quite long periods Slessor had been completely frozen out. Now O'Donnell, since that positional error in the last frame, has been that man. You've got to just step up when the chance comes.
Four. Five. Ten.
So, again, the momentum has shifted. Slessor was in the ascendancy. He was looking good. But suddenly O'Donnell with the chance. Elliot Slessor just keeping the energy up with a banana, which you're allowed to take into the arena. There was a tournament in China when Neil Robertson was told by the referee he wasn't allowed, but it was just a slight misunderstanding.
$18.
few problems along the way here. The two
25.
reds that are close together. Not necessarily potable everywhere, those two.
26.
Sort of playing it safe in a way, and just by playing on reds to left middle. There were 2 possibles. I'm sure he'll play the one closest to the pink, and it appears that the right-hand red of the 2 close together is potable to the right corner. Saw it from the side view.
Yeah,
I think the angle on the pink's not bad here. Get the feeling the red will go to the right corner by just running through this pink.
$40. $41.
Problem has arisen now. The red in the way of the path through the black. And the other thing to say, he's going to have to play a good shot to pot this and get on his next red. It's a terrific shot. Really good shot. And I think the feature of it was he knew he'd gone slightly wrong from the shot before. The red was in the way. He didn't take any extra time thinking about that. Got down and decided what shot he was going to play
48.
and executed it delightfully. But there's still more to do. Black taking him in the vicinity of the red, trying to nudge it into play, no doubt. What a shot. Oh, he's played a couple of absolute blinders in this break. What a shot.
55.
The perfect cannon.
$56.
Yeah, it just feels like the last frame in reverse. It was O'Donnell 40-odd in front there. Slessor got in, made a great break. And here, Slessor had the advantage. He left a red, didn't he, trying to just escape that little snooker. It seemed quite innocuous at the time, until O'Donnell knocked it in. And has made a terrific break here. This yellow was worth seeing this shot again.
61.
Could not have worked out better, could it? This yellow, and it looks like 4-3 O'Donnell. So just as Slessor was looking good, he made the break. He was in first. His wings have been clipped here. We're also seeing as well that the strength in depth in snooker, these two, you know, low-ranked players. There's once a time, if you're down that end of the rankings, you weren't really capable of doing this in a big match, but they're both producing good snooker now.
$70. $75.
It's been a really good break, this, and as good as I've seen for a while from O'Donnell. He's played some great snooker this week, but nothing better than what we're seeing here in this frame, a crucial
81.
frame as well.
Yeah, just as you think one player is sort of taking control or threatening to, The other one comes back at them. Martin O'Donnell with a magnificent clearance there. That was superb. That really was. 4-3 O'Donnell. He needs 2. Slessor needs 3. Well, we're being waved to by one of the locals there, enjoying a really good match here. It's turned into a cracker, actually. And the last couple of frames sort of carbon copies of one another in a way. The player who got ahead and was looking favourite ended up losing it to a really good break.
Yeah, and it does feel as if these two are almost inseparable. Someone's got to be in front after an odd-numbered frame, but you know, the last 2 frames, as you say, have been similar, but it feels as if as soon as one player has to find a bit extra, they'll do it. And I mean, it's been a good match. These two have got similar styles, you know, they're hard-working, good match players, but I think that break of O'Donnell's was the best of the match by some margin that he did to win it. It was a terrific break of 88 from 40-0 down.
Well, can he get 2 frames clear? No one's done that yet. If he does, of course, he'll be on the brink of winning. So suddenly the pressure transfers back to Slessor.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Frame 8, Martin O'Donnell to break.
So Martin O'Donnell, off the back of that terrific 88, the highest break of the match so far, leads 4-3. Just on the average shot times, O'Donnell 28 seconds. I think anything under 30 is considered fine. There's been times in the past where he's veered beyond that, but you know, he plays at his own pace. He's not been slow. In fact, he's just come down to 27 after that break-off shot. That's perfectly fine. As is that from Slessor.
1.
He's winding himself up to play the brown here. He's going to screw it out of bulk. It's a big shot, a lot of force going into this. It's a terrific shot. Yes, he's not right on the red, but I tell you, he hit it so hard.
5.
I've seen those bounce out of middle pockets. I don't see how he could have played it any better than he has. They're giving it a good go, these pair, aren't they? This time much too thin. So I think a little unlucky there,
5.
because he played such a good brown. Overcut by a long way on this. You feel it would be a significant moment, though, if one of these two could get a couple of frames ahead, especially at this advanced stage of the match. And O'Donnell in now himself.
Six. Seven.
It's true what you say there, you know, they've attacked, haven't they? You know, it's such a big match, you could maybe forgive a bit of defensiveness, but he went on the attack there, didn't quite come off. He'll be watchful, though, because we've seen the last couple of frames turn mid-frame.
$14. 15.
Finding his range, that's perfect for the dropping in behind the loose red here. Or does he want to go into them? No, that's a very positive effort. Now, he did, on this occasion, in hindsight, he may have taken the wrong option because he's on that bottom red. I thought he might play on that one, but
20.
you can't really knock the fact that he tried to split the reds far and wide. But I felt sure he'd play on the loose one there.
Martin O'Donnell, 20.
Again, and it's just the way he is. He didn't react in any way to not being on one. Just played the safety.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool character, but he did lose his rag a few times towards the end of his last spell on tour, when things were just not going well, and just I saw him show obvious disappointment. Pressure was building up. He seemed to think a year away from the main tour. Might have just recharged his batteries a little bit. Now he's back on. Anyway, he's going to get another chance by the looks of things. Has he left anything on? Yeah, he can get through to it.
Yeah, so this is why it pays to be calm, because the chance can come immediately. Slessor concerned, clearly.
Well,
I think Holty put it well, didn't he, in the interview? He was asking the questions because he's been off tour for 2 years, and he said when you drop off after so many years, you think the world's going to end, but it doesn't. And he's, of course, found his way back on same route as O'Donnell through the Q Tour. Be on the tour next season. Back to the notes.
8.
Well, you can put the
Martin
piece of
O'Donnell,
paper
8.
down now, Slessor, because he's coming back to the table pretty quickly. That was a surprise miss, you got to say.
One.
Well, he gave that some welly, he really did. I mean, I don't know, did the adrenaline take over there? I mean, he was absolutely taking that cue ball right back and through the middle of the table again. They feel he's unlucky, but did he have any real control over the shot?
What does he do now, is the question.
Well,
Reds everywhere.
Yeah, the blue's up there, and if he can get to it, it would be the shot. If he can't, of course, maybe the red's in the way of that. Does the black pot? I mean, can you see enough of it before he hits the red? Well, I'm not sure about the shot he played on the red. I mean, it's one thing screwing off the bunch, but he sort of unleashed such a big backswing
Thank
shot.
you.
Backspin that just come flying back across the middle of the table on seemingly nothing.
Elliot Slessor, 1.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he couldn't get through to the blue at first. I wondered if it went, but I think the red's in the way. So that wasn't even an option for him.
Yeah, he's not quite going bananas yet, but he's not happy.
What a brave shot, and he deserves to be where he is. Now this feels a big moment in the match, another chance to extend his lead. It's very thin, and the kiss on the red was not bad at all.
Three. Four.
Well,
8.
you can see you don't have to be a body language expert. He's concerned now, nervous that he could be going 2 frames down with just 3 left in this big, big match.
Yes, which wouldn't mean he was beaten, of course, but it would feel a very important and significant blow at this stage. For both players, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're playing a
9.
match, obviously you're not looking at it objectively, as you would be if you had no investment in it, as we don't really. We're just observers, and who knows what Slessor's thinking. I've been unlucky, or this has gone wrong, or that's gone wrong. You just don't know. All you can try and do, from his perspective, is what he has been doing this week, which is control those emotions. But you can't control, you can see he's looking at that paper again, you can't control, of course, how your opponent's going to play. O'Donnell is looking strong again.
Eleven.
It's a good shot as well, because the angle on the blue is nice. This really is a golden chance now. His lead is 34 points. 39 with the blue. The cannon on the 2 reds is what he's deliberating over, I think. Does he need to do it? It's almost harder to avoid it, in a way. But he might think that he can get the frame 1 without it.
$17. $18.
So it'll be 45 who takes the blue again. And then I guess a red and a blue would mean that Slessor could tie the frame.
$23.
Yeah, so pink, you'd be 52 in front with 51 on. It is a nail-biting match, this.
$24.
Yeah, well, now he has to play the cannon, because obviously make sure the blue goes in, but either way, Just nudge into the 2 reds and then put the frame in completely safe if he pots one of those. Very good. There's been just one blip in this frame. He missed that red to right middle when he looked good.
29.
Overall, I think his level of form this week has been reflected in this match. He's still there, playing well. It's a bit shaky at the beginning. Missed a couple of bad shots. But once he settled in, it started to look more secure than the man he's playing. Slightly more ambitious as well. Can't rule out a comeback, but at the moment O'Donnell looking as if he's very capable of getting in the final.
Yeah, I mean, he's about to play one of the biggest frames of his life, isn't he? As you say, to get into that final. It has to be said, he did struggle a little bit to close it out against Brissell, although ultimately won on the black last night. We'll see, but for the first time, there's going to be 2 frames between them. The man they call the Minister of Defence has gone on the attack here. And he's still got that calm way about him. Can he just continue in that vein for one more frame? Yeah, nice effort. So much of this is also, of course, on Slessor. Can he regroup? Another frame that was in the balance early on, but Martin O'Donnell with an important visit there of 41. For the first time, he's 2 clear, and he's 1 away from the final. He leads 5-3. For the first time in this semi-final, there's a 2-frame gap. Martin O'Donnell leads Elliot Slessor 5-3, so O'Donnell needs 1 more frame. And he'll be in the final on Sunday.
I mean, you couldn't rule out a comeback. Again, we've always thought there's not much between the 2 players in their various styles and everything else, basically. Similar players, but I just feel quite an important blow that has been struck. Of course, if Slessor was to win this frame and he's back sort of within a frame, and it's anybody's again. Of course, he has to win this frame, or else he's lost. But if he can, the incentive is that the match is right back in balance again. I didn't see all of last night's match because I was on the other table, but some of O'Donnell's least effective snooker was right at the end, wasn't it, when he just fell over the line, potted a good black, but he missed 2 or 3 match balls. So there's a chance that could resurface, depending on the pressure, I suppose, that Slessor puts on him. Looks like that might be a plant.
Yeah, and could not have worked out better. He's on pink or black here. So, chance for Slessor. O'Donnell did have the long red initially from the break-off, didn't pot it. Positive thoughts, Elliot, is what you need here. This match not done yet.
8. 9. 16. 17.
So the plant helped him and has given him this early in, which is what he really needed.
23.
Something to get him racing, having lost a couple of frames in a row. O'Donnell, he's going to get some bites of the cherry if he doesn't get any chances here. He knows that at some point he'll get an opportunity to win the match, whether it's this frame or any time during the next two. He's not going to not get a ball to pot or a chance to come his way. It's just not going to happen. He's got to be patient. Not try and force anything.
31.
It's almost the job of Slessor now to do that.
$32. 39.
Well, certainly no hesitancy from Slessor here. He's looking good again. But we've seen a few frames from this sort of position.
40.
Someone 40-odd in front suddenly turn on one shot. He's at that point where he can't afford for that to happen. He can't afford to slip up.
$47. 48.
Wow, that cue ball, the angle it came across at it. I mean, he didn't have a great angle on the black, but he
55.
forced it into the top jaw. The cue ball is absolutely flying across. It was like that shot earlier when he screwed off the bunch. Getting a lot of work on the ball, too much, I think, at times. But that's a good shot.
56.
This is a very good break. Just what he needed. And of course, O'Donnell certainly didn't. He's going to screw into these four reds, I believe, taking on this black. Means that, of course, he's got to get the pot. Goodness, this could go wrong. Excellent. Well, this is the best he's played in the whole match. He's played okay at times, but it's
63.
the way that he's executed this break so far has been very good. Quite swift as well.
64.
Superb, yeah. The body language is great, actually. You know, as I say, not hesitant. He sort of, it's like he expects to pot every ball that he plays. If he pots this one, he needs one more red. And then it'll be 5-4 in no time. At what point does Robbie Williams get a bit concerned? He's got the high break at the moment, 1-4-6, which he could tie here. Staying on blanks. But that's frame ball. That's the most important thing.
Robbie Williams might be thinking about that green ball up there being safe.
79.
You're looking at different things, aren't you?
80.
Comfort of your own home.
$87.
Well, his personal best
88.
break in a tournament is 1-4-2. He could potentially beat that here. What a time to do it. Under all sorts of pressure, one of the biggest matches he's ever played. 5-3 down. O'Donnell had a chance at a long red right at the start of the frame. That could have been it. But the plant was on. He made the plant, and he's still going strong. Ah, that is not in. That's a shame.
95.
But
Elliot
a
Slessor
quick
and
fire
the frame.
95. And suddenly it's close again. Just one in it. Elliot Slessor determined there. Putting together a good break. O'Donnell's lead reduced to 5-4. It was a sort of turbocharged Elliot Slessor there, wasn't it, that break? Didn't make the century, but 95. Right back in it now, 5-4. Just showing Martin O'Donnell I might only need one chance in each frame now to get this one. It's turned into a really good match. You're not quite sure what you're going to get, obviously, in any match. It could be two big hitters. They don't always produce the goods. This one we knew was kind of the biggest match either had ever played, which suggested it could be scrappy. It hasn't been. It's been free-flowing.
It's been a good match, yeah, it has been good. It could have gone the other way, actually. The early frame and a half, I wasn't so sure how it was all going to pan out. But I think the fact that he's won that last frame fairly rapidly, an under 10-minute frame, for these two that would be unusual, gives his intentions, and it shows us that he might be able to do the same thing again here.
Thank you. Frame 10. Martin O'Donnell to break.
So 5-4. O'Donnell still needs one. Slessor, who won the last, needs two to reach the final of this Welsh Open. I think whoever wins, they'll be the underdog, I guess, in the final. But so what? If you go back the last 3 years, Jordan Brown was certainly not fancied to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan. He did. Joe Perry was not fancied to beat Judd Trump. He did. And Robert Milkins, of course, beat Sean Murphy last year, despite the pressure of that big bonus prize on the final as well. So we'll see tomorrow.
A couple of little groans, but he didn't go for the pop there. Might feel aggrieved that that plant was ever on, actually. O'Donnell in the last frame, which was his last shot when that saw Elliot come to the table and make that break. Ah, that's not finding any bolt cushions, that safety shot. So that's a bit of a mistake. At this point, when your opponent only needs one frame, you've got to cut out safety errors.
1.
Good part is one of those where at this point you're just hoping the white holds up a bit. Kind of ran on. So this is another big shot on this green.
Yeah, it was, Dave, and you're right. It was a positive shot. These two, as I say, they forced themselves into that positive intent when they have been known to go into their bunkers before a little bit in the past. And this week, seen them as better players for being more free-flowing, I think. What an early in. Is desperate for something like this at the start of a frame. O'Donnell.
Well, it just kind of went in off the jaw, but it's in.
Yes, and perfectly on the blue. On a different day, that might have stayed out.
The chance he's been dreaming of, isn't it? You know, all his career. The frame to reach a big final in a ranking tournament.
Martin O'Donnell, 10.
Yeah, so that was the end of the break. Not sure exactly whether he was on one there at first. So he'll be annoyed he hasn't amounted to anything, but he just played a good safety shot at the end of that small break.
Yeah, he didn't miss. He just didn't land nicely on one. I mean, if you look at it logically, it's going to be difficult to get over the line just because it means so much, but it's just a question of to what extent can he control those emotions if he gets another chance.
I mean, it's not like running in a marathon where the last couple of miles are tough because it's physically tougher. It's just it should be no different to any other frame, really. It's just a question of putting all that out of your mind and just putting the balls. But that is very easy for me to say. That's a bad safety mistake. To be honest, he's made a few. It's one part of his game that has not been good today, especially in the early exchanges. He made quite bad mistakes, and he hit this red incredibly thin on the way up.
Well, you can see there's a red through the gap.
That is a very good shot. And he's on the black. I know the black is away from the spot, but the little cannon allows him to play the black now. And he has to take this on 100%. Yes, he's hitting other reds on the way through. This could be the one. Wow. First signs for me of nerves.
Very much so, because the reds were sitting beautifully, and of course they are now for Slessor, who just made that 95 in the last. chance this for Slessor, potentially to take us the distance.
One.
It's just that one moment, isn't it, where you do actually miss something like that, which he's not going to miss those. He hasn't missed anything like that in the match, really. He just kind of opens the floodgates to a lot of doubt. You know, it just could have been one that he missed. It might not have been the tension, but it's not going to mean that it's not going to make it any easier when the next chance comes, if it comes.
Yeah, I've often thought the whole history of the game would be different if you didn't tell the players what the matches were best of. We'll let you know when you've won. But of course, it can't work like that.
Twelve. 13. 20. 21.
Out of O'Donnell's hands for now. It's a good chance this, you've got to say. Particularly after how well Slessor took the chance in the last frame. He's determined to get on with it, but he's going to have to just wait a moment here while Colin Humphries sorts the pink out.
Thank you. 27. 28. 35. 36.
He seems to have a lot of a spring in his step, real purpose about what he's doing here. He's got the angle to stand behind the two reds. It's almost like when he went 2 frames behind to this man, that spurred him on.
43.
It's very hard to have that same drive all the way
44.
through a match, of course, but right now it's all Slessor.
$51.
I think every player wants their Alex
52.
Higgins moment, don't they? They want that calling out the family after the final. He had to miss his daughter's birthday yesterday. Obviously, he was here, but she might be here tomorrow. The way things are going, he's not far away from taking the semi-final, the full distance. O'Donnell was nicely in. He missed that
59.
black. A couple of balls away from 5-all.
$60.
Well, this is frame ball. Of course, he wants to ensure that he can pop the ball after it. So I think a gentle nudge into those 3 reds. He doesn't want to risk sliding off the bunch and going in off or anything. Yeah, that's all. A little tickle, which has not worked. It might be a red to middle, in fact. First red to right middle, but it's, as you could, well, as you saw, not what he was looking for.
He's a bit hyper, isn't he? Look at that reaction.
In fairness, it's working for him, though, isn't it? You know, he is, you're right. He's channeling it better, I think, than earlier. Nothing wrong with that shot, is there, in a match like this?
Yeah, you're right, he's keeping a lid on it.
Well, the reason I say it's working better, I don't think it was earlier, because he played a couple of screw shots where he just sent the cue ball back so far without control.
Just wanted to get on a red, obviously, and kill this off once and for all, but a snooker required. And Martin O'Donnell in a spot of bother himself. He was in, of course.
Yeah, and he had been thinking for the last 5-10 minutes since he missed that ball, all about it. The black that he missed, Slessor took full advantage. Now he's chasing a bit of a miracle here to try and win this frame. Especially now that's happened. It's all over, isn't it, this frame? We're going all the way, I'm sure, in the next few minutes. I think we could have forecast it might go that way because of the two players and their stories this week.
Absolutely, but I think the way it's gone there maybe is not what people were predicting. I think people thought it would be a bit dragged out. It hasn't been. They're both attacked. There's been some really good snooker played. There's a great shot to make sure of the frame. It's going to be all on the last frame. Elliot Slessor, he's pumped up for sure. Can he stay that way in the frame that matters? Can O'Donnell regroup? Now it's all on the line. He's had a couple of chances already to get this one. We're going to find out. It wasn't a matchup anyone predicted before the week began, but it's turned into a compelling, entertaining contest, and there's just one more frame. Who's it going to be, Elliot Slessor or Martin O'Donnell in the final?
$16. $17.
Bit of a contrast in personalities. O'Donnell is quite placid. Slessor, as you can see, he's really pumped up here, and he's used this to his advantage, this attitude. He's come out fighting from 5-3 down. He's played two really good frames. Breaks of 95 and 65 have levelled the match. Just one left to play in this first semi-final of the Welsh Open. Elliot Slessor 5, Martin O'Donnell 5. The decider coming up next. As Elliot Slessor returned to the arena, he shook hands with Martin O'Donnell. It's 5-all.
Thank you.
We said it was probably the biggest match either's played. This is now the biggest frame either's played. Slessor has come back really well from 5-3 down. But what sort of decider are we going to get? The winner will play John Higgins or Gary Wilson in the title match here in Llandudno tomorrow.
Good safety shot, that. I wouldn't quite say he isn't known what's hit in the last couple of frames because he had that one chance, but he has been witnessing O'Donnell a level above from his opponent. And he's had to sit there and watch Slessor get quite pumped. But he'll also know that a 5-all, it slightly changes the dynamic. It's not so simple to be like that when you can win the match, as to when you just think you might lose it, knock a few in. If he came out and did the same again here, Slessor, that would be some achievement.
Yeah, I was watching Slessor there towards the end of that break. He looked like a firework that can't wait for November the 5th. He was so pumped up. the balls kept going in.
Well, it's not a bad thing to be like that, is it? You know, as long as it doesn't boil over. But, you know, some players have thrived on it over the years.
Of course, it's supposed to matter, isn't it? That's the whole point, and it does. And this is just such a big frame for these two, my word. All the years of slogging around on the circuit, often anonymous, not with big crowds like this. You know, qualifiers and 10 a.m. in the morning, table 4, all of that stuff. This is to get through to a big final.
There's quite a lot of tension at the beginning of the match, but I think for different reasons. Took them both a little bit of time to ease into what was ahead of them. Generally speaking, it's been a good match with breaks in most of the frames. Yeah, very decent breaks from both players. Pot success, 90% Elliot Slessor. 89 O'Donnell. He was a bit higher than that at one point. Those are the numbers, but now we're down to the really important bit. What happens from here?
Yeah, it already feels like a very different sort of frame, which of course it is. It's the last frame. It was quite a cagey start to the match, and then things got quite fluent. Certainly the last few frames have been, but now it's all, of course, on the line here. Been going 3 hours, 11 minutes, all told. But in reality, you can add several years onto that for both of these two, can't you? Slessor first term pro 2013, O'Donnell 2012. They both had to come back on at various times. Oh, this red is possible.
Yeah, and it's another error in safety. Slessor's made all the glaring ones. There's always the risk of something like that happening. Gearboard is running around a little bit here, not hugely, but he wants to avoid hitting the green. Can't do it, but that's not bad. That was quite fortunate. It's not hanging over the pocket. Well, that's a very good shot. He could have played the green. I don't think there was an awful lot in the way of position from the green, so the brown was a more authentic shot, I suppose. It was one of those where it takes you towards the reds. Missable, of course. But I suppose they're all missable right now. Big shot here as well. Very good. That's all he could do there, just run through. He was a little straight on the blue.
11.
Now the cue ball is running in pot on this red. He'd love to be on the black. He just doesn't want to end up being snookered by one of the reds in the middle of the table. Playing it around a couple of cushions. He's more than happy with that. He played it okay with a trace of left-hand check side, I think, to avoid the cue ball going out towards the reds.
$19. $20.
Well, Slessor's looked the stronger player for the last half an hour, 40 minutes of play. But of course that counts for very little when your opponent has now got this chance in the decider.
27.
Looks perfect from the overhead just to run the red through.
Heard Martin O'Donnell interview
28.
quite recently, actually, and he was asked, you know, when he dropped off the tour again, and bearing in mind he's 37 as well, did he consider maybe just packing it in, doing something else? And he said no, because I always felt there was something inside. And he was right. Here he is with a chance to reach a final. Big pressure on him, but you'd rather be at the table than where Slessor is. He can't do anything from there.
$35.
Well, that was a tight one as well. The near jaw is not usually the best place to aim because they can stay out. Look, Elliot Slessor has come back very powerfully from 5-3 down, pumped, played brilliantly, but now he can just sit and hope. There's nothing else you can do. He hopes another chance will come his way, but at the moment, O'Donnell's looking good. He's got awkward queuing on both of the reds that he is faced with.
43.
So I thought he played a very positive shot there. Just get through to that top one. Not as bad as all that then.
44.
No, I mean, this is a major chance now. 44 in front, the red's nicely spread, black available. Slessor will feel the same. You can see, kind of can't watch now.
$51.
Well, body language not good. He feels it's over, but you just never know. He's got to stay focused. There may be a chance. Gonna have to come soon, though.
$52.
Yeah, this is kind of how he played last night against Luca Bracell, isn't it? The way he's approached this last frame.
$59.
Disappointing to get so close, isn't it, and not really have a major chance in the deciding frame.
Well, it's two
60.
more pots that O'Donnell needs to get to the snooker's required stage. It's been a terrific match, this. Of course, the pressure was put on him. He was 5-3 up. Slessor came back strong. But Martin O'Donnell, a cool customer, needs this red, and barring snookers, he's in the Welsh Open final.
Shaking his head. I believe if he'd have got the first chance, he might have been doing this, Slessor, because he was playing so well. You get nothing in the decider, and it's quite frustrating. But this is terrific
68.
for Martin O'Donnell. This has been a very cool break.
Well, a year ago, he wasn't on the tour. And there was no guarantee he'd get back on. He's gone from 0 to hero as Martin O'Donnell. Elliot Slessor is devastated right now, and you can understand why. It is the fact that he didn't get a chance in the decider, having played so well to force it, and having played so well all week. And I'm sure he felt he was playing well enough to win the tournament.
74.
But what about this for a story? Martin O'Donnell, 76 in the world. Back on the circuit and into his first major final. Something about this tournament in recent years keeps throwing up these stories. And the fact that he will have won the decider in one visit as well, that's the thing. He hasn't needed 3 or 4.
81.
He's killed it off clinically. Slessor not in a happy place.
$82. Green ball.
When you think he missed that black in the previous frame, and it was his only real chance in a couple of frames, O'Donnell. It's going to open
85.
the floodgates to more pressure and nerves being put on him, but if anything, the way that Slessor played to get to 5-all. So concentrated his mind.
86.
He may be down the rankings, and he may be back on the tour only for 3/4 of a season or whatever, but he's played like an absolute regular in this.
A great at the game would win a match, isn't it? You know, one chance needed. And has every reason to believe he can finish with a century. It's been a long road to get here. All the uncertainty of being off tour, as I say, it's not easy to get back on. It's not easy to be sat at home watching everyone else playing for the prize money and the trophies. He's shown strength of character just to get his tour card back. Slessor in agony, but he's just going to have to sit and take it. That is sport, I'm afraid. What a finish from Martin O'Donnell, a century to win it, to put himself into his first ranking final. Superb.
100.
I think it really is. It's the icing on the cake, isn't it, to do it with a century? All the pressure, the biggest frame he ever played in. Didn't look like it. It looked absolutely as if he'd done this 100 times before. Very likeable player, likeable person.
106.
Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke than O'Donnell, but you know, he's got a big match to play tomorrow now. He could win this. He really could. One thing, getting to the final, and that would open up a lot of doors for him. If he plays like this, he's got every chance of winning it.
111.
Yes, he kept the belief, didn't he? The year he was off, he kept the belief in this match, even when Slessor came back at him so impressively. And he's just very calmly gone about his business here in the decider. Slessor getting ready for a swift exit.
120.
This Welsh Open is turned into something of a fairy tale tournament, hasn't it? Jordan Brown,
126.
Joe Perry last year, Robert Milkins. Could it be Martin O'Donnell in 2024? Well, he's in the final, and he's got there with a superb break there. 126 it was in the decider. It was a terrific match. Credit to Slessor there for finding the time to say something nice to Martin O'Donnell, who will play Gary Wilson or John Higgins in the final. He's won by 6 frames to 5. Every credit.